personal finance, ain't nothing personal about it. I would rather view finance from either a business or a general perspective. You know what? Let me pull you inside of my perspective so you can see exactly what I mean. All right, so if we wanted to create or build the framework for the perfect budget that you can use as a guide to further navigate you over the course of the calendar year of 2026, then let me show you what that will look like. As you can see, we have an article here from nerdwallet.com in regard to the 2026 income tax bracket and updated standard deduction. So let's stroll down the article really quick and let's take this $24,150 via the filing status of head of household. All right. And let's see if we can stay within or below that framework whilst we budget $40,000 for the year. All right. So we're going to head up to the annual framework of what that would look like. All right. So as you can see, we are below that $24,100 via filing status head of household by $1,050.00. Oh my gosh, that just made it so much better for me to understand. Like, personal where? I don't care about personal finance. Ew. Get personal finance away from me, please, because it doesn't make any sense. Like, don't take it personal. Don't take it personal, babe. No personal finance over here. Or is it? Have we been viewing personal finance all wrong? Is the price points associated with the life you desire to then live the only personal part about finance? I believe so. I believe so because everything else, darling, is considered business or general finance. Okay, so let me ask you this. Do you desire to live in some form of shelter? If the answer is yes, hit the like button. If the answer is yes, hit the like button. Okay, because what makes it personal? Well, your overall income, where you then can live based on your income versus where you then truly desire to live. We may have to make some adjustments. Like, I had to make some adjustments. I don't want to live in the ghetto. But guess what? That's what my income can afford. Until I am able to leverage additional streams of revenue over the course of my financial journey so that I can move on up. That was like the Jeffersons. Okay. Listen, it's not time for that yet. It's not time for that yet, but we will move out of the ghetto one day. Right now, I guess I'm going to call this series Poverty Privilege because I understand the level of privilege that I have in poverty because I desire to be wealthy one day. I desire to be able to afford housing in a better location. Amen. Cheers to that. Leave a like if you can contest to that. You just experiencing poverty privilege at the moment. All right, let me stop ranting. Okay, so we are below the standard deduction amount via the filing status head of household by, again, $1,050. Now, if I desire to pack up my bags one day and get out of poverty and experience a little bit more luxury in life, I can start by taking that $1,050 remaining from the standard deduction amount, divide that by 12 to be able to keep up with inflation, or add an additional $87.50 per month towards moving to a more luxurious area one day. Was that not simple? I believe so. I believe that was simple. You know why it was simple? Because I used this article from nerdwallet.com as a framework to help me understand how to leverage a better life for myself one day in the future. Amen. Amen. Yes. All right. So, in order for me to stay focused throughout the calendar year, what is it that I need to do? I need to not take stuff so personal. This is not a personal finance journey. No, it is not. This is either a general or a business financial journey. Amen to that. Because what am I essentially? I am considered an investor. Money is considered investment capital, and it is my job to learn. It is my job to learn how to make wise investments over the duration of my financial journey. In extension to understanding how to not only generate, how to not only generate, I have to learn how to manage and invest funds gathered throughout the calendar year in addition to building financial independence. Huh. That's in the introduction here because I wanted to make sure that that was an important message that I relayed. So let's go over that introduction. Money managing systems are based on actual calculations that in which are grafted on pre-generated charts, which is what you see here, a pre-generated chart, which simultaneously records a systematic way to manage time, operate money, and commerce business throughout the marketplace as an investor, of course, with investment capital. Excuse me. Subsequently, the RSG spreadsheet systematically organizes any form of revenue in regard to generating, managing, and investing funds throughout the calendar year, in addition to, again, building financial independence or the life you then truly desire. Based on your income, of course, you don't want to over leverage. You don't want to over leverage yourself. No. All right. Which is why you need to use this framework as a guide to further navigate you over the duration of, I've listed 6 varied range of time frequencies that derive from the calendar year to keep you laser focused on how to further navigate. So we have our annual view. We then have our quarterly view, okay? From there, we have our monthly view. We have our weekly view, our daily view, and last but not least, our hourly view, okay, of what that budget would look like. So let's just say, for instance, I am not happy with what I make per hour. No, I need to renegotiate my hourly rate. How the am I going to do that if I don't have no clue on what I need to be bringing in per hour to up the annual ante? How? Using this framework, which is why I highly recommend that you get into digital budgeting. You want to learn how to, let's just say we climbing up the ladder with our financial literacy and understanding how the financial market works as a whole. And we want to start using an itemized deduction. We can write off this tech that we using, okay, to further store our financial books, okay? This is why I do not recommend pen and paper budget. Of course, you can start there. I started there. If I'm not mistaken, I can't remember exactly who created. I mean, I could look it up. Who created the index card budget? Where do you think that I got this framework from? It's like, I mean, like it's not that deep. You can literally put this framework on a card, stick it in your wallet, and let's go. I don't have time. I don't have time to be playing around with this stuff for the rest of my life. I need to get in. I need to get it fast. Especially for people who hate math, which I would never understand. Good God. But for people who don't like math as much as a person like me, you it's so frustrating for a person who don't share uh interest of like or love for the subject at all. Budgeting can become a very daunting task for an individual who can't stand math. And based off my perception, I feel like the only reason why somebody wouldn't like budgeting is because the framework is so all over the place that they can't grasp the initial concept on how to create a framework that they can use as a guide to further navigate them throughout their financial journey. Which is again why I created this budget here. Because on top of that, let's just say I don't want to make 40K in 12 months. I want to see what that framework looks like to generate it in 9 months rather than 12. Then I have the framework in front of me, which I can easily, boom, take my tablet or have an overview of what that budget or framework would look like before I even walk out the door and start generating capital to further fund my lifestyle. What is the target? 205.13. All right. Turn this off. Boom. Head out into the financial market and generate 205.13. Then from there, my daily expense report is at 118.46. And my daily revenue report or remaining sum is 86.67. Now, the only reason why I froze the daily expense report, i.e., your basic need and luxury expenses, in red, because you have to understand, just like the stock market, you're always going to be at a loss. But the objective is to try and leverage with the remaining sum. Now, I know a person will probably be like, hey, well, what about groceries? What about fuel costs? What about all of those fluctuating expenses that occur throughout the year? You can control those expenses. That's why they are fluctuating. You can control them by incorporating structure and discipline throughout your financial journey, which will grant you balance. All right, because you're using the proper framework to stay in alignment and not over leverage. Okay. So, if we use this as a guide to further navigate, we can stay within or below this framework via the standard deduction, or if we are then learning how to utilize item itemized deduction, sorry about that, itemized deduction, writing off purchases that we make throughout the year, getting the depreciation from those purchases. Again, I'm not a CPA, I'm not a financial advisor. All right, I'm just conduct private studies in my home-based facility, just trying to gather information so I can gain a better understanding overall myself. All right, and then I'm here on the internet sharing what I've discovered privately, now here with you publicly. All right, now you understand then how to generate the same 40K in a 9-month calendar year, which means that I have 3 months remaining to make additional income. Now, I can either leverage time, which is what I'm doing here by recording the video during the first quarter of the year, which is when I typically don't work. And if I do decide to leverage my time by going to work to generate more capital so I can leverage money in other sectors, such as whatever extended prompts that I may need to further record, or if I want to start investing. You see where I'm going here? If I want to get a month ahead, etc., etc. All right. You start learning how effective the budget actually is when you are effectively using the budget in the way that in which it is meant to be used, as a framework to further navigate you through the course of your financial journey based on a varied range of time frequencies deriving throughout the calendar year. Again, for more information and regarding this budget, I've left a link down in the description box below. You head over to Etsy. It's titled the RSG Spreadsheet, and you can further join me on this journey that in which I intend to navigate on whilst I discover a very many ways of how to generate additional wealth over the course of my own financial journey. So I hope you join me. Again, I am your host, Ella, and this is Vision Board Finance. And with that being said, I will see you in the next video. Bye.